Hello and welcome back to the Sandhouse House. Good to see you again. What we're going to tell you about today is something that is long overdue. Well, not that long, only 7 months. We're going to tell you about Jaema's birth story. It's pretty interesting because it's very different than Kaeden's. She also came on time and didn't require NICU time, and she came, well, we'll just tell you about it.
If you haven't seen Kaeden's birth story, make sure you watch that one also, especially because then you'll know the things that we're comparing and how they're different, because they were very, very, very different. So my pregnancy with Jaema was good overall. The only thing that was a little bit difficult was that I had to get a progesterone shot every week starting at 16 weeks until 36 weeks because Kaeden was born early. He was born at 36 weeks basically, and so they wanted to give me progesterone shots to strengthen my uterus apparently, to keep the baby in there for as long as possible. Well, not as long as possible like forever, but as long as possible because Kaeden was born so early.
The only funny part about progesterone is that nobody actually knows if it works. Apparently it worked for us, we think, because obviously Jaema didn't come until she was ready. But would that have happened without the shots? Maybe.
Who knows?
Who knows?
Yeah, we'll never know. So I was getting the progesterone shots. I also had gotten our hospital bag ready way in advance. I think it was ready and packed by like week 31 maybe because Kaeden was born so early. We just wanted to make sure that we were ready to go whenever it happened, and so we were very ready for whenever. But then we ended up just waiting and waiting and waiting and waiting.
Week 39 rolls around. It's a Monday morning, and I had to work like I normally would, other than that my wife is 39 weeks pregnant. At this point, I work like a 10 to 15 minute walk away from where we live. And that morning I had at least one meeting scheduled for 11 a.m. So I get to the office around 7:30 and just start going about my normal work routine and don't really think anything strange or different is going to happen.
So at 9 a.m. that morning, I started having contractions. And it was interesting because with Kaeden, if you watched his birth story, my water started leaking and it broke before, and then we went to the hospital, and then I started having contractions. So I was already at the hospital and everything, and I didn't have to do the whole timing contractions. How far apart are they? Is this contractions? Is it Braxton Hicks? I didn't have any of that with him. And so I started having contractions at 9 in the morning. So I was like, okay, I think this is what they are. I texted Jacob and said, hey, I think I'm having contractions. I think they just started. But I have no idea how long they're gonna go for. Like, many people labor and labor and labor for so many hours, and then it's like time to go to the hospital. And so I knew they had started, but I wasn't sure how long they were gonna go for until we actually had to go.
So I texted and asked, I was like, should I come home? Because if you're having contractions, that should mean I should probably go home, right? And Kathy, being the not a problem until it's a problem type person that she is, responded by saying, no, just stay at work, it'll be fine.
I'll keep you updated. Once I started timing them, which was like 15 minutes after they started, they were already 7 minutes apart. So once I was positive they were my contractions, I started getting the last things together for our hospital bag. There's always those things like your wallet or your keys or things like that that you can't get into the last minute. I started getting those last things together, put them in the bag. I was running around the house, also taking care of Kaeden at the same time.
All while I'm sitting at work, have no idea that this is going. Not because she couldn't tell me, but because, well,
I'm pretty sure I kept you updated. So my contractions kept progressing, and I think around 10 a.m. that morning, so about an hour after they started, I texted Jacob's mom because she was supposed to be picking up Kaeden once we were going to the hospital. So I let her know, hey, my contractions started, and she was like, I'll just come and get Kaeden because you don't know how long it's gonna be or whatever, but it'll be easier if Kaeden's not with you guys, so I'll come and get him.
At this point, Kathy also finally texted me and said, you should probably cancel your meeting and come home.
I would rather him have canceled his meeting than to have to call him in the middle of his meeting and be like, hey, I need you to come home right now. So I was like, just cancel it. It'll be easier for everyone if we just cancel it and you come home.
At this point, it was like right around 10 o'clock, maybe slightly after, 1 or 2 minutes after. And she was still talking about this all in very non-urgent terms. Like, you should probably head home when you're ready. No rush or anything. So I'm quickly trying to finish things up because I know if we go and have this baby right now, I'm not going to be back at work for a few weeks. So I'm trying to make sure everything is taken care of before I leave. And then finally, I think I was around like 10:15, I actually made it to leaving. It was actually really funny. I was about to start a big project that I thought would take me 5 minutes, and I opened it and realized, oh no, this is going to take forever, so I closed it and put it away. I walked home, and I got home around 10:30, and I walk in the door. Immediately, there was just this sense of, oh no, oh no.
We didn't have the baby at home, just to put that out there. It was not that urgent.
I walked in, and Kathy is like standing there in the living room, moaning, grunting, like, and I'm like, are you okay? And I'm like, oh no. So immediately my brain shifts into panic mode. Not really panic mode, more like urgent mode. I don't really do panic. I more do, okay, I'm gonna get focused and I'm attentive to what needs to happen. Not really anything else.
And so Jacob's mom got there about 10 or 15 minutes later and got Kaeden.
Between me getting home and her getting here, I packed the car, I took the car seats out of the car, made sure she had everything she needed, made sure Kaeden had everything he needed.
There was a car seat for the baby in the car.
There was a car seat for the baby.
We didn't take that car seat out of the car.
I put that car seat in the car and took the other one out.
Kaden's.
And when my mom came in, I pulled her aside and I said, Mom, I think we waited too long. This is urgent. We need to leave now. I got Kathy out the door and into the car. Okay, we live 3 miles away from our hospital, which is not far at all, unless you live in the downtown of a city, in which case 3 miles is anywhere from a 5-minute drive to an hour drive. Typically, it takes us around 10 to 15 minutes to get there.
Yeah.
And we get in the car, and every like 3 minutes, Kathy's having a contraction. She sits there moaning, and I'm driving like, are we gonna have this baby in the car?
Did you really think that?
Only a little bit. I thought your water would break in the car, which is honestly,
oh,
I realized that was...
Did we even have any towels down in the car? Did we?
Nope.
We didn't. I didn't even think about it.
I thought about it.
I was too like distracted by my contractions. So yeah, they were like 2 to 3 minutes apart.
And for anyone not familiar, that means you should have already been in the hospital in the birthing unit. That's not show up to the hospital timing. That's like already there, checked in, got your room settled in, met the nurse, met the doctor. We're good to go. Not we're driving. Not there yet, not checked in yet, not anything yet. So we got there around 11:15. At this point, okay, I should have known better. Those are my words here now. But we're pulling up to the hospital and you have the emergency room entrance with like valet parking. And then about 50 feet further, you have the entrance to the parking garage where you can just pull in and park and walk in. So I say to Kathy, would you, because I don't really know why it didn't click, like just valet, it didn't click. So I said to Kathy, which would you like me to do? And Kathy said, just park in the garage.
No. I thought you were going to the emergency room. I thought there were like 3 places to go, and you said, do you want a valet? And I said no.
Which
I think
to
that
me
was what
means, okay, so
go to the garage.
I'll go park. So we pull into the garage, and immediately once we're in and we've taken the ticket, because it's the city and there's tickets to get in and tickets to get out, we're committed. And suddenly I'm realizing this might not have been a good idea. We should have valeted. I don't know why you didn't want to, but I should have just said, let's do it. So we drive up the parking garage. We get to the first parking spot we can find on the 5th floor, because of course there weren't any before that.
The top floor,
yeah, the
right?
top. We finally get into the hospital and we walk up to the front desk. It's right there. It's nice and close to the entrance. And I just said, we're having a baby. So they immediately put us they put Kathy in a wheelchair, not us. I was walking, not in a wheelchair. Put Kathy in the wheelchair, walked us over to the emergency room, which is like another 20 feet over. And then the emergency room called OB triage and they walked us up there.
So we go to OB triage and I mean, I was obviously in labor. I don't think they could have looked at me and been like, oh, you're not in labor. This is a false alarm. And so they checked me to see how dilated I was. And they told me I was a stretchy 7
Which basically means don't panic, but the baby's almost out.
Basically. And so we were like, okay. And mind you, with Kaeden, I got an epidural when I was 6 centimeters.
So at this point, Kathy is just in pain a lot and no longer is she like fully coherent and cognizant. She's just kind of, I'm in pain, epidural, give me an epidural. Somebody, have I mentioned I want an epidural yet? The number of times that she told the midwife, she told the nurses, she told the OB, like she was like,
remember that.
do they have the epidural yet? So they got us in, they got us there, they checked everything. They were like, oh, it's happening. It's we're getting there. So they're like, okay, well, we're just so you know, we've called the doctor. She's gonna be down there. She's gonna meet us in labor and delivery. And they were like, okay, Kathy, can you get off of the bed you're on back into the wheelchair to bring you to labor and delivery? And Kathy was like,
no,
I'm not. So they brought the whole bed down with us. Very convenient that hospital beds have wheels, by the way. They brought the whole bed out of the room into the elevator, down 1 floor or 2 floors to labor and delivery, brought us into our new room, which was just 2 doors down from where we had Kaeden. Kathy was like, I don't remember that either. And they brought us into the room, and then our nurse comes in and she brings in the epidural machine, which Kathy's like, oh, my machine already.
It's a machine.
It's a big like apparatus. It's not really, it's kind of a machine. It's a big thing.
They brought in the epidural supplies.
Kathy was very excited about those. And so she kept mentioning,
I'm pretty sure the nurse came in and said, here's the stuff for the epidural if they're able to do it. Or something like that, where it was
Kathy was like,
please?
If? This is not an if question, this is a when. And I'm sitting there knowing like, they can't give you an epidural unless you can sit still for a long time, and you cannot sit still for a long time right now. But I'm not gonna crush your dreams. I didn't say that, I just said, we'll see, honey, we'll see.
Spoiler alert, I didn't get an epidural.
So we're sitting there, not getting the epidural, and then the OB comes in, and it was actually somebody we've never met before. She was really nice, we really liked her, but she came in, and she was still wearing not the like actual birthing clothes yet, but she just kind of wanted to check things out. She came in, she talked to us for like 30 seconds to a minute, and then said, okay, well this is happening, so I'm gonna go get changed, and I'll be right back.
So she came back about 20 minutes later?
If that, it was maybe more like 15.
I don't know, it was pretty fast.
She went out, then she came back, and she came back with the nurse, and around 12:30, so remember, we got to the hospital at 11:15, and then at 12:30, it was time to push. For those of you who have experience with hospitals, that is not very much time, because everything takes a long time at the hospital, like checking in, all the things.
So it was time to push, and it was very painful without the epidural. I'll just say that. I would still recommend getting an epidural. Still would have loved to have had one. However, comparing the two experiences, Kaeden's and Jaema's, if you weren't gonna get an epidural, I think how my labor with Jaema went was like the best way possible. That it was just really fast, and it was like, okay, she's here, and over. I think if I hadn't gotten an epidural with Kaeden, it would have been a lot harder because the labor was just longer. So at 12:45, Jaema popped out and she was here.
Just like that. And they said, would you like to cut the cord? And I didn't do it with Kaeden because, you know, very urgent situation. So with Jaema, I was like, sure, I'll cut the cord. So they hand me the scissors and I go to cut the cord and I go snip, and it didn't cut. It was kind of embarrassing actually. It took me like 3 tries to cut the cord. I had no idea those like umbilical cords were so tough. The other really funny thing that this doctor did while Jaema was crowning before she came out is she's crowning, she's right there, you can see her head. And the doctor says to Kathy, do you want to touch it?
And I'm like, no, I do not want to touch the baby
why on earth
right now.
I thought that was really funny.
I think I probably yelled at her like, no, I don't want to.
She was really nice. She laughed.
Yeah, the doctor was really, really nice.
So she came out, Kathy delivered the placenta, everything else fairly normal. That was pretty much it. It was a totally different experience than with Kaeden, especially the experience after that, because they let us stay in that room for a little bit and then moved us over to mother baby. And
we had the baby with us the whole time. With Kaeden, we saw him for a second and then he got whisked away to the NICU. But with Jaema, we actually got to like have her with us and have alone time with her for the first hour or so. And I was able to try and breastfeed her and get her to latch in that first hour, and she did, and she breastfed great. It was just a totally different experience from Kaeden. So that's pretty much Jaema's birth story. We hope you enjoyed hearing this. If you have any questions for us, we would love it if you would put those in the comments down below, or tell us about your birth story or your experience. And if you like this video, be sure to give it a big thumbs up down below. We would appreciate that. And if you're new here or you are not subscribed to our channel, we would love it if you would subscribe down below as well. Other than that, we will see you next time at the Singhouse House. Bye. Bye.